Yes, today I have one of my world exclusives. My sources, multiple sources, are telling me that Apple do want to buy Warner Brothers Discovery. This isn't big news at the end of the day because every single company wants to buy Warner Brothers Discovery. It's why I keep on telling Snyder fans stop getting excited about Netflix because they're one of many, and they're no more in front of the queue than anybody else. But Apple have been my preferred choice from the very beginning because Apple throw money at talented creatives and they let them make what they want to make. Just go onto Apple TV and see the amazing stuff we're seeing. You know, the latest thing from the guy who created Breaking Bad, everyone's talking about it, and for once it's not toxic, it's positive. Now, personally, I'm a bit concerned what that ultimately might be about, that show, but hey, let's go with it. So yes, Apple want to buy Warner Brothers Discovery. You're hearing reports about people being scared of Paramount because they've got Trump in their corner. All bollocks, all nonsense. Trump won't be getting involved with the ratification of the sale of Warner Brothers. It's not in his department as president. He can't. It's illegal for him to get involved. It's nothing to do with fucking him. And all this crap about Paramount making an aggressive takeover, the problem is they're not offering the shareholders more money than other companies. So it's all nonsense. So yes, not only do Apple TV want to buy Warner Brothers Discovery, they want to put Matt Reeves in charge of DC Studios. They want to replace James Gunn with Matt Reeves at DC Studios. In fact, they want to replace James Gunn and Peter Safran with Matt Reeves. Very, very interesting. I'll get into my opinion if that's a good move or not. Well, basically, any move apart from James Gunn would be a great idea, but Matt Reeves running DC is both a positive and a negative situation. But first, I want to talk about something that's come out about Swaybox. Now, Swaybox are this production company that are going to be making this DC animated movie, Dynamic Duo. Now, the director of that movie has been doing some talking because from the moment this was announced, James Gunn was getting all the credit for this and Matt Reeves just happened to be a producer. Now, the director of this movie is putting forward that the whole pitch was pushed forward by Matt Reeves and basically James Gunn's name isn't even mentioned. This is the beginning of Matt Reeves replacing James Gunn as CEO of DC Studios. Or there could be another scenario which would be disastrous, which would be Matt Reeves replacing Peter Safran or James Gunn. I think it would be a disaster for James Gunn and Matt Reeves to run DC Studios together, but that could be an interesting scenario because these are two very different filmmakers, which could create an interesting balance at DC Studios. But this is what the director of Swaybox's Dynamic Duo film had to say. Dynamic Duo director Arthur Mintz says Matt Reeves was the one who pitched the idea of making a DC animated film with Swaybox Studios to David Zaslav. So this is interesting. He didn't pitch this to James Gunn, who claims everything has to go through him. Matt Reeves pitched Dynamic Duo from Swaybox Studios straight to David Zaslav, not James Gunn. Interesting. Matt had always wanted to make a story about Robin, Batman's sidekick, and he thought this would be the medium to do it in. So he called us and we started developing that with him. The previous projects we worked on were great, but everyone was, we like your style, we like your aesthetic, let's do that, said Chris Amann. Then when you get into working with them, they're like, we don't like that anymore. Can you do what we do? Matt Reeves and the 6th and Idaho were the first people to say, we like that. Stay doing that. That feels the best. Now, this is very, very interesting because this kind of shows you what kind of CEO Matt Reeves would be, what kind of CEO, what kind of decisions would he make? This is what he would be like as CEO of DC Studios. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is brilliant decision making. He sees this company, Swaybox, who do things a little bit differently. So he goes, yeah, let's do this. Isn't this some of the dynamism we want to see back in the industry? Something a little bit different. So interesting, because basically James Gunn was taking all the credit for this decision. And this decision had nothing to do with James Gunn. But we know James Gunn likes doing that a lot, taking credit for other people's work. We know all the rumours about Guardians of the Galaxy, how that was somebody else's script that he allegedly stole. We don't know that for a fact, so we've got to be careful, and that's why I'm saying allegedly. But James Gunn has got a reputation, an alleged reputation for plagiarism, which is a big thing in Hollywood, and it has been since the beginning of the foundations of Hollywood back in the 20s. Anyway, so it was Matt Reeves' idea to do this movie. So what is Dynamic Duo? It's an animated movie, and it involves Robin, and it involves another character, doesn't it? I can't remember now. I don't know like the synopsis for it, but it's an animated movie, but it's animation done in a very different style. I'm all for this. I'm very excited for this. This won't be a streaming movie as well, which is great. It's going to be in cinemas, so everyone around the world can see this movie. And this is part of the good stuff of Matt Reeves, that he's willing to pitch stuff like this directly to David Zaslav, not James Gunn. Again, this is very interesting. So I think that Matt Reeves will be a great CEO for DC Studios. The only thing that worries me about Matt when I look at the Batman movie, the first movie he did, there was a lot of white racism in that film, which I've brought up before. The fact that there's this woman of colour, mayoral kind of candidate versus the bad, toxic, straight white dude. I didn't like that, and you could see the kind of messaging they were going for. She was kind of like this Kamala Harris before Kamala Harris was even going for president, right? You can see what they were trying to do. But I'm happy to let that go. I don't want to keep on seeing that at DC, because I kind of saw that as well with the Penguin series. It was a kind of bait and switch. It was still the Penguin show, but clearly this strong female woman villain who they were just trying to justify as a victim of white men, right? And they were happy to kill off the kid and to keep her alive. That still pisses me off to this day. So there are issues with Matt Reeves, and they're my issues. There's another problem with people like Matt Reeves, and it's not just Matt, it's Nolan, it's even Snyder to an extent. This obsession with grounded filmmaking, grounded stories in the real world. That's great. There's a place for those stories. But DC also needs fantastical movies and fantastical animation. It all can't be one thing. That's another concern, because Matt Reeves is all about realism and putting things in the real world. So that kind of worries me a bit with Matt Reeves. But listen, Matt Reeves is a very talented artist, writer, director. It's obvious that I would absolutely support Matt Reeves replacing James Gunn and Peter Safran as co-CEOs of DC Studios. So they're the rumours coming to me that Apple strongly want to buy Warner Brothers Discovery and want to put Matt Reeves in charge totally of DC Studios. Despite my concerns that I've just stated, I would be very supportive, not only of Apple TV buying Warner Brothers Discovery, but of Matt Reeves running the whole kibosh, because it would be an improvement on James Gunn. Ultimately, people like Gunn say it's only a film, it's only a TV show, shoot him out of a fucking cannon. I've had enough of people like that not understanding how important and beautiful the art form of telling stories, making movies, and making episodes of TV, wanting to give people a fucking experience, not just making, soulless fucking content, which is what people like Gunn really want to do. So yes, I absolutely support the idea of Matt Reeves taking over DC Studios. I think it will be much improved, and I will be more excited about what's coming. But there would be problems with that situation. He is a director at the end of the day. He's not a businessman, but he does own his sixth Idaho production company. So he can balance being a businessman as well as a creative. But we'll have to see how all that develops. Now, let's get on to our favourite pet subject, Mr. Zack Snyder, who isn't messing around when he hints to fans that the Snyderverse is going to be restored. This time, he hasn't posted something on Instagram, he's liked something, and this is very, very interesting, boys and girls. So let's get into this. Where are we? Here we are. Here we are, right. So look at this. This is very interesting. Now, take a look at this. You probably can't see. I'm going to read it out to you, and you can see that someone circled the name liked by Zack Snyder. So let me explain to you what's actually going on here. So this is an article that says, 3 years ago today, Henry Cavill announced he's returning as the Man of Steel. It was a glorious day for all of us DC fans, because it's not just Snyder fans who love Cavill as Superman. It's, Cavill has his own fandom away from the Snyderverse fans as well. He is a gentleman. He is everything that Christopher Reeves was. He is absolutely the epitome of the modern day Superman, and we need him back as Superman. I don't give a shit that he's approaching his 40s, right? His early 40s now. Doesn't matter. You can have an older Superman in his 40s. The geezer keeps in shape. I'm very excited to see Chad Zelensky's and his, rendition of Highlander, and Russell Crowe's going to be in it. So that gives kind of vibes of Russell Crowe and Man of Steel with Henry Cavill as well. It's all very exciting. So, this article about celebrating 3 years, since Henry Cavill announced he's returning as the Man of Steel. And it's liked by Zack Snyder, and it's circled that it's liked by Zack Snyder. Now, we have to be clear about this. This could be Zack Snyder, who uses Instagram now, just liking something he likes. He's a Henry Cavill Superman fan. He cast him. He made Man of Steel. He made BVS. He made the Snyder Cut with Henry as Superman. So him liking it and appreciating that anniversary of that announcement that sadly was reversed in the end because WB are a bunch of pillocks, the dumbest studio in Hollywood, no matter who owns them. Let's hope that changes when they sell it for the final time, hopefully, in my lifetime. So Zack could just be liking something that he likes, or he could be leaving us more breadcrumbs. So how do I see this? I think Zack Snyder's leaving us breadcrumbs. Listen, people can try and say it's all coincidental what's going on with Snyder right now, but I don't believe any of it. This is a repetition of what he was doing, the tactics he was using to create hype to get the Snyder Cut released. And he did it. And I think at the moment he's not saying much apart from posting these pictures and teasing them and saying I'm using blah 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 camera, right? To make it sound like it's just a director posting something. But I think as the weeks and months go ahead, you're going to have Snyder being a little bit more blatant about what he's attempting to do. As I say, there's two scenarios here. Either he's been told by whoever's going to buy this company, right? And look, he may or may not know who's buying the company. I think it's a done deal, right? I'm not going to tell you certain things that I know, but it's a done deal. It's going to happen. And a lot of the stuff you're seeing, reported about this sale, as I say, is absolute bollocks. And as I've already said, Apple is my preferred choice. I don't really trust Netflix. Now, if they restore the Snyderverse and leave Zack the hell alone to do his thing, respect. I'll be happy with that. I won't be upset. But I think that Apple are more than likely to restore the Snyderverse as well as Netflix. So that's an interesting situation. Snyder is leaving us breadcrumbs. Snyder either is pushing for whoever buys Warner Brothers Discovery to restore the Snyderverse, or he knows who's buying them. He's made some kind of arrangement with them, and it's happening. One way or another, Snyder wants to restore the Snyderverse. That's obvious. He never wanted to move on. He's as passionate as we are. Let's keep on standing with this wonderful director, this visionary director, and try and restore the Snyderverse.